Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I am JB and joining with me today is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mark Marsh.
Hello, everybody. I'm back.
Very, very well anticipated return. So this is like a new series. I don't know if we're gonna name it, if it's gonna be long standing or not, but it's definitely we've got three topics that we're gonna break down into three separate videos. So yeah, and the first is with David Zaslav, the new CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, saying that they're gonna scale back on direct to streaming things and focus more on theatrical releases. Is that to you signifying the end of direct-to-video DVDs, direct-to-streaming Scoobies, and maybe we're going to switch over to live-action Scooby every 2 or 3 years, or an animated Scooby every 2, 3 years?
So when I got asked this question, I obviously had to go to a think tank, and so many things I was thinking of. It's like, okay, streaming isn't for everything. It sometimes works, and it doesn't. And with Scooby-Doo, I just had a feeling that it was never going to work because we were so used to having it on direct to video. That's how it used to be. There was the direct to TV specials with the first four, and then with Zombie Island was when they first started moving on direct to video. And from that time and up until last year, I think we had consistently one or two movies each year with a series running in between them based on the artwork. And now it's like all this streaming stuff. We've had our direct to videos halted and pushed back to try and promote streaming, which one we didn't ask for because we were going to buy the DVD anyway. Now we have to either buy a subscription on whichever streaming sites, like whether it's Hulu or Prime or what's the other one called?
It's
Uh,
like Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus,
Yeah.
HBO, and it's like out of the 6.99 or 12.99 that we pay for that monthly subscription, you're going to get what? Probably £3 of that. You get less if you just sold it as direct to video. So
Yeah.
it's like the money game isn't there on streaming. Okay, people are going to rewatch it, but you're not going to get any more money for it.
Yeah, see, I
Especially
never understood
when it's
that.
on streaming, people just pirate and rip it. Because I feel like if it's on streaming sites, I'm not going to pay 12.99 to just watch it each month. I rather just watch it once, or I buy the DVD. I'd rather spend money knowing I can own it in a collection rather than paying someone else from a third party to watch it. Because I get the point where I feel like watching Scoob. Oh, it's only accessible on Amazon Prime. Let me just reload my Prime subscription, paying £100, or I think it's over £100 now a year.
Oh.
I pay for my Prime subscription. It's like it's ridiculous just to watch one movie. So the whole move to streaming is ridiculous. It does not work for everything. I feel like the only thing that it's worked good on is Paramount Plus watching the Rugrats because that hasn't had any other platform since it came out in the 90s. So it makes sense to do it on streaming so people can watch it and then buy the DVDs when it comes out. But Scoob for oh God, what year did Zombie Island come out? Was it 98?
I think it's 98 because it's the
98.
25th this year
So
anniversary.
yeah, it's just over like many years, like 15 years. Yeah, 20 years almost. Yeah. So that's a long time having direct to video with all the movies. So there's like almost 40 direct to video movies out. And now you want to switch that over to streaming sites where we won't get the promise of getting it on physical media.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. I never understood how streaming could even make money. Like again, like you say, I understand rewatching stuff and subscriptions, but then it's like how can you quantify if that new subscriber was brought in by that movie and then is that revenue to that movie or is that like an overall like
Yeah.
tip jar that people just dip in and out of depending on numbers? Like I never really understood that side of things. And as well, I think it's a different scenario with Warner Brothers. Like I'm not a great advocate in terms of like promoting piracy and stuff like that. But in terms of stuff like HBO Max, that isn't even available in the UK at all. And
Yeah,
so it's
you
like,
have to get a VPN.
yeah,
And then Amazon have done away where they know if you're using a VPN now. So the whole use, but you see usually, oh, buy my NordVPN Express or whatever they're trying to promote, and you can watch geo-restricted sites. It does not work with Amazon, but you're showing it with Amazon. It does not work with Amazon because eventually streaming sites are going to know where your location is and know that you're using a VPN that is masking your location for another. And it may work now with HBO Max, but it can be a point where they're going to cancel that, and we still won't have HBO Max in the UK. So the only way I watched Velma is the fact that I had to watch it on a third party website. And that was the only way I could have watched the whole Velma series.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing in the UK, like, and out of America, it's a problem. Like, it's not something that I'd go, oh yeah, let's sit here and speak this way about Disney Plus, because as far as I know, that's worldwide. But when the main demographic of HBO Max is so limited, it's like, well, you either not going to see it, and you've got, or you have to pirate it. And again, it would be different if HBO Max and Warner Brothers had stuff in place to combat that. So let's talk about Velma. Like Velma, I don't think a lot of people liked it, but if their account is to be believed, it was the biggest animation opening for HBO Max, whatever. But then for something that's so successful numbers wise, it's not on iTunes, it's not on YouTube shows, it's not on TV even here. Like they haven't even done like a deal with Sky to distribute it. So it's like,
yeah, and you can't buy it on season because they haven't released a box set for it, but they've announced a season 2.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't get how it's got the lowest ratings of HBO's standard, and even on IMDb, wherever the website's called, it's the lowest ranking on there, but that's got a season 2. I don't understand how that works in the money business scheme, because if I was pouring money into something and it did really badly, I wouldn't want to invest into another season or continuation on that project because of the recent sales. Like, it's just going to tank.
And it must have done bad numbers wise overall. Like, obviously, episode 1, the opening, I think a lot of people, it became a point where, and this is the case for me, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I had to see episode 1. Like, I heard so much about it. I heard all the complaints. It was almost like I can't go to my grave without seeing if it really is that bad. And so I think with even the haters online, they made episode 1 something that you almost had to see it to believe it type thing. But then by episode 10, I think people understood that it wasn't going to get better, or like, it wasn't going to change that much.
But for me, I felt it was very predictable. Like, I knew what they were going to do before it even happened. And it was mostly cringing because they tried to add in the humor, but it was forced comedy. Where if you force a comedy in, then no one's going to either get the joke or not going to find it funny. Only the person writing it is going to find it funny, but they haven't executed it properly. So the jokes in the Velma were just trash because you just knew straight away what they were doing. Like the opening scene in episode 1, the cockroach. No one speaks about the cockroach scene. I was thinking, why show 2 cockroaches mating when, one, they don't mate like that? And I actually, if someone looked at my Google search history at that time, they'd just see, how do cockroaches mate? And I saw the video and how they mate. It's not exactly like that. So I was like, it's like, you got that wrong.
I mean, it wasn't even clever. Like, I guess if I'm trying to defend Velma, if there's like, let's have a cockroach mating scene in the shower, right? That doesn't make sense, but you can imply maybe that's showing that the school is dirty, it's run down, they're running on hard times, maybe, but then they don't even make that a part of the story, so it's just there for shock value.
But it's when they open up into a shower scene, I'm thinking, oh, great, you're trying to go with the old classic serial killer scene where obviously you got to show the females in the shower scene, and then obviously someone's gonna die. So I saw that coming. As I was thinking, that's like too cliche. You'd like at least be original.
But I guess it also contradicts like that David Zaslav's, his plan, because he said that he didn't want to do any more streaming things, and obviously like shows are different to movies, and I can see in a way that that's why he wanted to cancel Scoob Holiday Haunt. But then it's like, to you personally, why do you think they would move away from streaming and so cancel Holiday Haunt, but also stream Velma, as opposed to let's put Velma on DVD or let's air Velma
give it
on
a
TV.
season 2? where at least Holiday Hunt, everyone would agree on it and enjoy it regardless of if it was good on ratings or not. Like, because they could have released it on a Blu-ray or 4K and would buy it. Like, I brought Scoob on 4K. I don't have a 4K player, but I brought it on 4K because I'm that much of a fan. I brought the Blu-ray where I barely watch Blu-rays. So I still watch DVDs. I have Blu-rays because I'm trying to convert over to Blu-rays for when people come over. They're the Blu-ray option, but I still watch DVDs. I still watch VHS tapes. I'm very old school, so but I will still buy the latest stuff. And so they probably made more money because people like me would just buy the extra ones regardless.
And you know, with holiday specials, like I love your channel. I know you know that, but I love
Yeah.
your channel. Every day I see you, well, not every day, but quite often I see you unboxing really lovely DVDs like that from, like the HMV covers when they reprint Disney's, when they reprint like
Yeah.
Christmas ones. And you know what it's like going into HMV at December. They always do like different slip covers for Christmas specials, and it's like imagine Holiday Horn. Every year they could do a new slipcover for it and then sell it at HMV. Like every year, there's
People
potential
will
for
buy
new
it.
sales.
Like that I because I still have to finish editing my Scooby-Doo collection, but there's so many that I have duplicates of because it's either in a bundle. I have like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one, two, four, five, six, seven box sets of the same, pretty much almost the same movie that I have duplicates on because it's all separate. But I brought it because it's in a box set, and it's like, but it looks nice though,
Yeah. And
and
same
I'll
for
buy
like
it.
Christmas. I mean, like I've got
Yeah,
like Home Alone in by itself, Home Alone 1 and 2 as a double set, and then they did a Home Alone 4 pack. And I'm not a great fan of the last two, but it's a 4 pack.
yeah,
Like now it's like
it's
got a nice
all in
different
there,
artwork on the side.
and
Like
you buy it
it just is what it is. And
because
like
the weird thing is, if Velma did come out on DVD or Blu-ray, I would still buy it for my
you
collection.
know what?
That's the weird
Yeah.
thing. I hate it, but I'll buy it. That's the weird most of the thing. So you won't buy it, but well, I didn't say that. I said I hate it, but I need it for my collection.
You see, that's the thing. Like the completionist, it'd be like, oh, it's there.
I
It,
need it because a lot of my ones now is like I have to get them from America, and it's all like the glow in the dark cases they have. I want them because the slipcovers look nice. Then they got all those 50th anniversary ones from Walmart and the ones from Best Buy. So I'm struggling to get them over now because the import charges are going up over the years. So at the moment, for like 5 DVDs, it's going to cost me about over nearly 200 quid in total. And I'm there like thinking, I can't really decide which five I want.
would just almost be like cheaper to save up for like an international trip and just like
And now you
an
got the
empty
Warner Bros.
suitcase.
100th anniversary DVDs.
Oh, see, that's like again like
And I'm
different
like, I
anniversaries
want
of
them, but
things.
they're not in the UK. I was like,
It's a shame. I think Warner missed a trick over in the UK because I don't know if you've seen, but on Twitter people are posting that they've reprinted a load of the Scooby movies for the 100th anniversary. But I
yeah.
went over to Asda and all they've done for us is get like a 100th anniversary sticker and stuck it on all DVDs. I was like, well, even maybe just sell
They
the
get a
sticker
slipcover, we get
separately.
the same thing but with a sticker. And you can buy those stickers on eBay.
Really, I actually just want the stickers.
Because what
Like,
was the one that I showed you? The coin of Scooby one that was in HMV.
oh, I've still not found that. But that
Because
was good, yeah.
they had the
Oh.
Banjo Kazooie collector card as well. When I was like, there's a lot of stuff here I want to collect, but I know I just spent a lot of money on my strongman stuff.
I mean, collectors just buy stuff, right? Like, it's just the Scooby completionist in me. If they released any type of Velma on DVD, it's almost like you have to get it,
I
right?
have to get
Like,
it because if I can buy it and get it, I will. Especially when it's on, I always check, make sure Amazon don't know that the new one's hiding around, and I'll buy it. Like the Mystery Mansion set of Where Are You and the Blu-ray one. My one's still sealed, unboxed.
mm,
Because have you noticed that they done re-releases of them? But have you noticed how our ones have the numbers on them? tell you
Yeah,
that
there's like
mine's ten thousand five
limited.
hundred and something out of 50,000. Those ones I consider rare, unique because there's only 50,000 ones of them, and the new ones don't have them. They just have the 50th anniversary sticker on there.
Oh,
So
so they must be quite cheaper as well.
if I keep this sealed, it'll make my collection look very good.
Yeah, all
But at the same
sealed
time, I really want to
things.
get inside and have a look at those little trinkets.
There's just so much, and it's just weird to think like the amount of stuff that people have kept sealed over time.
Because I was
And then I'm
watching everyone
like,
else's unboxings and I was like, I should have really done mine, but no, I'm committed. I'm gonna keep.
and merch as well. That's the main thing. All I was thinking, if they like, I mean, Warner can be quite lazy in terms of merch. So just going into a shop now, they've been selling like the same Mystery Inc. toys since like I was a kid. They're still selling them now. But if they want to be lazy, if they released Holiday Haunt, all they have to do is sew a Scooby hat onto all the plushies that they've made already,
And they're
like a Chris
selling.
Santa hat. I reckon they would do pretty
Yeah,
well as well.
they a lot like you said before earlier, like they can just change up every year, put a new slip cover on it, and we'll still buy it just for the slip
Yeah,
cover.
like
They
Christmas
can do
special
the
2024, 2025,
yeah, they can do a
2026.
collection box set with the Christmas ones because there's a 6 film Scooby-Doo one that's for Christmas. They can actually do like a 7 film one and throw like Holiday Hunt in there. People will still buy it.
Yeah, and mashups. Like I don't know which one is Warner, but like I don't know if Arthur Christmas is Warner, but imagine Holiday Horn and Arthur Christmas and something else. Like just like two unconsequential animated Warner Christmas specials and Holiday Haunts there. Like any type of combination they'll make, they could have made.
Or what they could do is re-release all the director videos but on Blu-ray. Because you notice there's only done some on
Oh,
Blu-ray in
mhm.
America, but it's I still got some on Blu-ray, but I hate how the good ones that we want on Blu-ray aren't on Blu-ray, but the ones that are like, yeah, they're all right, they're on Blu-ray, like Cyber Chase. Why is that on Blu-ray? Why not Zombie Island or Witcher's Ghost or Alien Invaders, which are three great classics? Like they are by far the true sequels after each other. Like I still say Witcher's Ghost is the true direct sequel to Zombie Island, hands down. Return to Zombie Island is just like non-canon. It does not exist.
No,
It does not
just
exist.
banish it.
That's fan animation. When people are like, oh, you can review the sequel. Yeah, Witch's Ghost. That's my next Scooby Doo
Do you
movie to see.
still have the DVD? You know, it's just crazy. But here's the thing that I actually
Oh,
no that the thing is, okay, let's say like theater releases, cinema releases. Would you rather a DTV a year, two DTVs a year, or maybe one blockbuster Scooby-Doo movie every 3 years, 4 years?
see, I was thinking of those two options, and I was like, even though I would like to watch it on the big screen in the cinema, but I would still like two new movies because I'm like, okay, every 3 or 4 years, got to get to the point where am I going to be alive enough to watch every single one every 3 or 4 years? And like, is there going to be a series um that's going to support it while we wait for those years? Because
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
normally with the director videos, they would have the series running in between. So you still watch the movie, but you still be preoccupied with the show. And the show, I think they normally run for 2 seasons minimum now. It used to be always one until it did really well. Like I think the
Yeah, I
only
think
one that
what's
has
new.
what's new is the only one that has a
Yeah.
true third series. I do not class Where Are You season 3 as the true season 3 because it was part of another show and it was just re-syndicated as the new Scooby-Doo show, but then later re-released as season 3. It's not a true season 3.
No, it has like the new intro as well, I think, as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really confusing. Well, I try to explain to people when you're collecting the series, it's easier starting with the movies because when you get to the series, you are going to be in a headspin. Because when I first started collecting mine, because I'm a 90s kid, so I remember the new Scooby Doo show advertising it in the Scooby Doo marathon. And so I would never brought up in the time where I would known that where the Scooby Doo show was actually a syndication of shows like Scooby Doo All Stars and All Stars Laugh Olympics, combined with the supposed season 3 of Scooby Doo Where Are You, all rolled into one to make the Scooby-Doo show. It's not until later on in college when I did more research and I found out, okay, if I'm going to collect this, I'm going to have to see what I can buy on DVD in terms of those syndication shows. So you can get the season 3 of Where Are You on DVD. That's part 2 of season 3 of the Scooby-Doo show done. Then the first season one is the Scooby-Doo and Dynamite Hour. You can get that on DVD, so that's done already. So the second season and the first part of the third season of Scooby-Doo show is basically the Scooby-Doo All-Stars and All-Stars Laugh Olympics, which you can only get in volumes 1 and 2, and that's it. I've looked around, there's no VHS release on them, there's no other DVD, like, because I found that Indian Steelbook release on Scooby-Doo. I thought, okay, other regions, maybe they might have an All-Stars happening. Nope. I looked on Reddit. I spent almost a year trying to hunt down for any more lost episodes of All Stars. Unless you were alive and filmed on a VHS tape, you're the only person who has the Holy Grail, probably the complete All Stars Laugh Olympics, and they haven't re-released that to this day.
Yeah, and it's not even that. Even if you got in touch with like a surviving showrunner, it was so much before the work from home era that it's probably been binned by Warner Brothers or by Hanna-Barbera or Turner Pictures at this point.
So I literally have the almost complete collection of the Scooby-Doo show because I almost have every. If they finally release the All Stars Laugh Olympics as a complete, then that season's down. I'm pretty much almost done on the Scooby-Doo. The only one is the Wednesday's Missing episode. And then that would be another one. The new Scooby-Doo movies, the fact that it took them 50 years, like so many years to release it as the almost complete collection because they couldn't get the rights to do Wednesday is Missing is ridiculous. Because I remember back in college, I don't know why I didn't buy it at the time, but I saw on eBay the Wednesday is Missing VHS tape.
Oh,
and you know what region it is?
Tell me.
Australia. Yep. Which means even if it did come up now, it's going to be expensive.
Mad money.
I bet a grand minimum someone would want to sell that for.
Yeah, and then import.
And imports on top. So it's like that's gonna be probably the big spender. And the weird thing is, like, if someone did list that, there'd be me that like, I have to buy it. Just so I can say, but I know as soon as I buy it, they've released the complete collection of the new Scooby All Star like movies and all that. So I was like, I wish I brought the Wednesdays Missing because that is just like I didn't think ahead because I thought, nah, like at the time I thought, nah, I didn't think nothing of it. But now I look back on so many things that I regret not buying, and it's like I could have got it for cheap because back then the import charges were lowest as can be. And now they are so high, it makes collecting abroad impossible. It's why I stopped collecting Scooby-Doo because it's too expensive. It's just that I don't have the resources and the money to invest in them because it would take me months before I even get close to get it. Because if I'm there's no buying one, I have to buy it if it's like 5 or more items. That it makes the combined shipping easier because it's cheaper.
You did mention a really good point there because when I asked you that question, I was actually kind of thinking either that the only Scooby-Doo content we're going to get is either 2 movies a year or a big cinematic movie every 3 to 4 years, and that's all I was thinking of at that time. I wasn't thinking about like TV shows because now it's completely changed the dynamic, and I'm almost thinking if we had a show between movies, I would almost really actually prefer that setup because the thing that really gets me about the idea of cinematic releases is just the vibe. Like us as content creators, we can react to the trailer like 6 months before it comes out, as opposed to 1 month then it's out, and there's going to be a second trailer, TV spots that we can react to and break down, and then not only that, but there's the community type of thing where we can vlog going to the cinema. We can vlog our reaction coming out the cinema. We're going to there to see and everyone you'd assume in that crowd is going to be a fan of Scooby. So
Yeah,
you can even use that as an excuse to like interview people after for their impressions. Like there's just so much potential, and you could connect to people that are in that audience of like the cinema with you. But as well, I don't know if you've seen like the Odeon, but for a lot of like the Marvel releases, they've done like popcorn tins and cinema cups and stuff.
yes,
And imagine every single Scooby-Doo release, popcorn tin, cinema cup. It's like imagine that in between shows. I'd love that.
because they're gonna do those cardboard stand cutouts as well.
Oh, don't even, because then it,
Because at Odeon, like
yeah,
they do like posters for certain movies and that, and the Odeon in Southampton is closed down because they're demolishing the area to put new buildings and shopping centre there. So all I have is the showcase, and they don't do nothing like that. It's just they just do the movie in the comfortable chairs. But I used to love Odeon because I had that unlimited card. Oh my god, it was so good going that you pay. I forget how much it was a month, but
I think it's like they've even. I think it's either 12.99 or 24.99.
yeah,
Very
it's
different prices,
yeah,
but it's about that region.
and you just like after work, oh, go see this movie for an hour. Like, let's watch that. Yeah, I used to say see the same movie 5 times. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
oh, this
yeah.
is
When
the
I had that,
best.
I did that. And if you don't get snacks, I think the tickets themselves are literally free.
Yeah,
So you can just live in the cinema
I'm
essentially.
just like, it's the best bargain ever. And then they got rid of it. Like, oh, that's so lame because Showcase don't do nothing like that. So I really hope Odeon comes back to Southampton because I'll buy that unlimited card again and I'll
Yeah.
use it.
Mm.
People say, oh, but when you get to the Showcase comfortable chairs, it's hard going back. Make 24.99 for unlimited movies. The only time that you couldn't use it is if the movie stated that you couldn't use your loyalty card.
Yeah, and I don't think you can use them in London,
Because
but
I
I never
remember the
go to
Cars
London.
movie. I think it was Cars 3. You couldn't use it. I was like,
Oh, really?
okay, weird.
Hmm.
But yeah, with I would probably prefer the director videos being 2 a year and with the series running in between, as opposed to opting that out because for a movie we're going to see every 3 or 4 years, the hype's not going to be there.
Yeah, comfort
The
wise, I would
series
go
what
the
hypes us up.
DTVs.
It brings us closer because it gives us something to watch each year.
And as
And
well,
this, yeah, the
imagine if you
series
didn't
could
like the
be two.
movie.
Yeah, if you didn't like
You
the
know,
movie, I waited 3 years for
yeah.
this, or 3 or 4 years for a movie that even the trailer was more exciting in this because the trailer is just a demo reel. It's not the final piece. So you may look at it like, okay, everything in the trailer is not in the final piece. That's where they get you sometimes.
You know what would be a good middle ground that Warners could look into? Imagine if every DTV release it had a limited amount of screenings in cinemas. That might be something because I think Where's My Mummy did limited screenings in cinemas as well. I don't think it would do well because obviously if you can get it on DVD and you can watch it in like comfort, maybe you won't go to the cinema. But I don't know, I think a lot of people maybe struggle with keeping up with the DTVs unless they're like hardcore Scooby fans.
Yeah.
So it could be a way for like the casual audience to go like, hey, look, I've got kids or I remember Scooby. Maybe after work on Friday, I'll just go to the cinema and see it then versus I'm going to commit to having this physical copy in my house for 10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah, because when it comes to the show, the series, I don't watch it on TV anymore because I don't think I watched TV since I left
No,
college. So
no,
it's like
same.
over like 10 years now. But I don't get time to sit down and watch TV because I'm either working and I come home and I'm training, and then by the time I do get back, it's like okay, what have I got time for? I'm either writing a script for a review or I'm watching something to then do a review on, and I'm just able to straight to bed. Because
Yeah.
like now that I've got a trainer, I train all the time after work. So when I come home from work, train, day off, train for 3 hours. So it's like I don't get time to sit down and watch TV. So when I came to the Scooby-Doo shows, like I had to literally wait until it came out on physical and then watch it.
Yeah,
Or
the same. Like I've only just seen season two of Guess Who, like recently,
yeah, because
because it
at the
came
time I only
out
saw
on
season
DVD.
one, and now I've finally got season two. I'm gonna now start watching it. I haven't watched it yet because I'm trying to find the time for it because because I'm reviewing the episodes from Where Are You, so I'm back to Route One with the Scooby-Doo shows, and I want to review them one after the other in order and do it that way. So I done episode one, What a Night for a Night, and I was like, I want to do the episode two, but then I also want to do Pokemon episode two, which I had copyright strikes in the past for. So I was like, do I really want to risk it? But it's like it's episode two. It's got Team Rocket. Really want to do it.
So I guess your final verdict on this is what would you like? Either let's ignore the shows for now because that is a really good part of it. But I guess the main question is, do you think that Warner Brothers should forego the DTVs in favor of cinematic releases?
I think, oh God, I'll say stick to the director videos because they work, and there was nothing wrong with the formula. I think getting rid of them and opting for the cinema release is like you're gonna have to make sure that you bring the hype and keep people informed that this is happening in 3 years' time. It's like the Scoob movie, which I always people hate when I say it's like I think the Scoob movie is not a Scooby-Doo movie. It is a invitation to the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe
Yeah, they should have kept
because
the working title, which I think
it's
was
not
Falcon
focused.
Force. I
Yeah,
think it was more of.
it's not focused on the Scooby-Doo gang. They only used the name Scoob because it relates to a generation, the old generation and the new. Everyone knows it. As soon as you say Scoob, Scooby-Doo.
Mhm.
Falcon Force. Only me and you will know that. You ask the new generation now. Do you remember the Falcon Force? Do you know who Falcon
They'll be
is?
like, look,
They're like,
what is that like the
who?
Smash
Who?
Bros character,
Who?
Captain
Yeah,
Falcon? Like,
they won't know it. So that's what they did Scoob. And I'm like, it's not a Scooby Doo movie. It may look with the name, it may look on the title, but it's not a Scooby Doo movie. It's an invitation. Like it's basically opening up to the idea of the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. Now, if they did that every 3 or 4 years and kept everyone in the loop, I would prefer that. Keep it as the Scoob cinematic universe, if they want to call it that, and then have instead of every 3 or 4 years we've got a Scooby Doo movie. I think each year or two there'll be a Blue Falcon movie, with a TV series running up to it, building the hype for it, or a Captain Caveman movie with the same similar formulas every 2 years after that. Then there'd be one big movie where they all come together for a mashup or a team up. So they if they did that, it would probably pave way for a good few years of a good bring the old shows in with the new because the new Captain Caveman design looks amazing. I just still prefer the old Captain Caveman voice when he says Captain Caveman because that old way he said it sounds so unique and what I grew up watching to the newer one where it doesn't really feel the same energy, but it's still good animation. So
yeah,
maybe they could do that. If they were, I would say get rid of the director videos and focus on the Scoobyverse, where you just have the Blue Falcon, Captain Caveman, all these other Hanna-Barbera shows brought back with their own TV shows that mash up the TV team ups with the movies as well. It probably be Hanna-Barbera probably on top of Disney if they did it that way.
yeah. There's definitely a right and kind of wrong way to go about this. I think in terms of myself, like you say, like if they were to just do purely cinematic releases, then they might not have the hype if it dies down. And also, Warner Brothers, if their first cinematic movie flops, then they'll
Oh
probably
yeah,
get it in their head like, oh, Scooby doesn't sell anymore, so we'll cancel the shows, we'll cancel the DVDs, and you don't want that to happen. But I do almost want if they could do both. That sounds greedy, but I think
yeah,
it's been known before because I think they still had DTVs. I think didn't Legend of the Vampire come out the same year as the 2002 movie and
yeah.
obviously 2004. So if they could do both, that would be my ideal world. But if I were to just, stick to my guns, I think really the DTVs are working. They have worked for a while. There's not really a great need to change things.
I just want them to bring new shows back from Hanna Barbera back. So bring Blue Falcon back, bring Captain Caveman back, give them their own shows, even if you run it for one season. See what the audience thinks. Because I think the newer generation will love it just as much as we did growing up. And you can do mashup seasons or direct-to-video movies with those characters with the Scooby-Doo gang, like they've done before with Blue Falcon. And you could do like a marathon run running between each other. So bringing those old shows, there's the opportunity there that they can take advantage of. Because I would love to see a complete team up between them.
I guess that wraps up this conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure to collab with you again, and hopefully we can do this some more
Yeah.
time. So, Mark, for the people watching, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me over on my YouTube channel at Mark Marsh, and also at Twitter, which I think it's Luigi is the at handle. Those are the two main socials that I use. I also use Instagram, but I rarely post on there now. So if you want to catch up to me and ask me questions, you can do so on my YouTube channel community page or on Twitter.
I'll
Which
be
I do
sure.
I do respond back to a lot of messages on Instagram, but I don't post.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That's interesting. So I'll leave that in the description down below then for people that are able to do that. And again, for people watching, if you want to keep up with what we're doing, I'll put the link tree in the description down below as well. So if you do want to see more content like this, then please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.